In this video, we're going to talk about qualitative variables versus quantitative variables. So first of all, what is a variable? So variables are the characteristics of the individuals within a population. So maybe we're talking about height or eye color or weight. There's tons of things you guys can think of, I'm sure. So qualitative, or we also hear categorical, allows for classification of individuals based on some attribute or characteristic. So the reason we also call it categorical is because that allows us to group them into categories. We also have quantitative variables, which provide numerical measures of individuals, and we also can perform addition and subtraction, and the results provide meaningful results. Or the results are meaningful. So you want to be careful here. A lot of people say, oh, well, the words are qualitative and the numbers are quantitative. In most cases, that is true. However, there are some numbers that are qualitative, not quantitative, because it doesn't provide us any meaningful results to perform math with those numbers. So an ID number or phone number, things like that, would be qualitative instead of quantitative. So let's look at some examples and classify some variables as qualitative or quantitative. So our first example here is nationality. So that is basically a characteristic of an individual. So since that's a characteristic of an individual, that is going to be a qualitative variable. So the next thing we're looking at here is the number of children. So here we're looking at a quantity. So that is quantitative. So we can say that Sally has 3 more children than Johnny. Household income in the previous year. So again, this is going to be quantitative. And the level of education. So if you think about that, that's the descriptor. We can say that somebody has finished up to the 11th grade or the 12th grade. They have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. So that is qualitative. And let's scroll down here. Daily intake of whole grains, and we're talking about grams per day. So this is a quantity. We can figure out who's consumed more. So we're talking about quantitative here. And a phone number, so again, be careful, that's a number, but for us to add or subtract phone numbers doesn't really provide any meaningful results. So this is going to be qualitative. The number of calories in a candy bar is quantitative, so that makes sense for us to add and subtract those. Student ID number, so that's similar to phone number, so that's going to be qualitative, so that's just a characteristic of an individual. Number of siblings is like number of children, so that is quantitative. And lastly, we have eye color, so in this case that is a characteristic or an attribute of a person, so we're talking about a qualitative variable here. So that's basically the description of qualitative and quantitative variables.